So this is going to be a video on how to add your own special views to Ultimate Brain, kind of like this one right here, this book tracker. If you dig in to one of these books, you will notice that if we open this as a whole page, this is part of the All Notes UB database, which means that these book notes are actually just notes inside of Ultimate Brain. They are the exact same as any note you would have in your regular old notes database, but they get a special location and some special views that allow you to make this cool little bookshelf here and to track your to be read list and reading list and all kinds of books. So what I want to do in this tutorial is show you how you could add something like this to Ultimate Brain, where you're leveraging the All Notes database to create some kind of special view for a certain type of note that would still be beneficial to have inside of that All Notes database, but might also benefit from having its own little special page like the book tracker, or to give you another example, like the recipe book. And my intention in including these in Ultimate Brain was really to give you some inspiration and sort of a blueprint for creating things like this yourself. And in making this video, I'm going to hopefully explicitly spell out that blueprint and show you exactly how it works. And to do that, we are actually going to create another one of these special views for tracking software. So the idea here would be, if you use a lot of technical software in your job, like I do, I use Notion, I use Premiere Pro, I use After Effects, Photoshop, maybe you would like to have a note for each one of those software products that you use where you could dump keyboard shortcuts or special tips or anything like that. And it would be pretty cool to have a nice little tracker like this where you could only see those software things. So we are going to build that, but first let's analyze how this book tracker actually works. So if we go into the deadline effect, for example, and we open this as a page, you will note that there are several properties that we are showing here. We have author, we have date started and finished, we have book status, and we have rating. And if we open up all the properties of this note, we'll see that it has all of those other properties that you would see in normal notes, but then we have a little bit of a divider property here, and we're showing all of these properties that are really specific to book notes. I've also taken extra care to differentiate these by putting a book emoji in front of the actual property name. So when we go to any other note in the system, like this vocal fry note, for example, we will see those exact same properties because, again, we are looking at the All Notes UB database here, which means every single note in the database is going to have all of these properties. It's just that in this case, we aren't filling those properties out. So the book tracker really is just a filtered view of the All Notes database. And we can verify that by opening up the three-dot menu here and looking at the source here. And we can see the source is All Notes UB. We have a gallery layout, and then we just have some filters. So first and foremost, we are filtering for not archived and not fleeting. But the most important thing is that we're filtering for where the type is book. So only book notes are going to show up here in this view. And that is the case for all of these views. You can check the filters if you want in your own copy. And then the other piece of the puzzle is that we have a note template called book notes. And if we open up that note template, we will see that we are automatically applying the type of book in that template. So if I create a new book note, it gets that type and it shows up here in the book tracker. By the way, if you do not see this three-dot menu here for editing this template, it means that your database is locked. So you would want to go to archive real quick and find the database in question. In this case, it would be All Notes. And you'll probably see it like this, where it says locked at the top. And notice that when I open up my templates, I don't have the option to edit them while the database is locked. So if I unlock that, then I will have the ability to go ahead and edit those kinds of things. I have made it so that databases are locked by default in Ultimate Brain. That way, accidental changes cannot happen, especially if you're working with other people. So you'll want to just unlock the database when you want to make changes like this. So let's start the building process for our software tracker. I'm here in my Ultimate Brain playground where I can make stuff like this. And underneath special views, I'm just going to create a page. And we're going to call this page Software Tracker. Why don't we even give it a cool cover and icon? I will give it a keyboard icon. And using Unsplash, let's just search for software and give it, how about this one? This one looks fun. There we go. I'm going to come up here to the 3-dot menu and set this page to full width. And then the first thing I want to do is create my handy dandy quick links bar. This isn't essential, but I like having this on every single page in Ultimate Brain. So I'm gonna bring up the navigation emoji. And this is just consistent building. I put a table of contents there. And that way, if I happen to have multiple headings, which I don't here, but for instance, in notes, if I have multiple headings, they will show up here in quick links. So I like to have that there. And the next thing I want to do is create a linked database. So for a software tracker, I think it might be useful to have a table view and maybe a gallery view in another tab. So let's do the gallery first. We're gonna do gallery. And by typing /gallery, it's going to give us the option to select a data source or create a brand new database. Here, again, we are creating a special type of note inside of our all notes database. So what we have to do is create a linked view of our all notes UB database. I'm gonna go ahead and add an empty new view, choose gallery as the type, and I will add a card preview. We'll use image as the card preview. We'll make the card size small, and we will not show the database title because it's a lot more clean when we do that. So right now we are seeing everything in the database because we currently have no filter criteria. What we want to do is filter for notes on software. But before we can do that, we actually need to add a new type to our type category or our type property. So let's go to type here and let's create a software type. And I'm going to change building a second brain back to book because that is indeed a book. But now we have that type available. So what we can do, if we look back at Book Tracker's filter criteria, is essentially replicate this, but for software. So we do want to make sure that we are not showing archive notes. We also don't want to show fleeting notes. Those are just notes that should be going away after a month of inactivity. But we do want to filter for our type that we've just created. So let's come back to our gallery and we'll add a filter. I'm going to create an advanced filter because I'm a fan of using the advanced filter box instead of creating these singular filters. So I'll do it that way. And we'll look for type. We're going to say type is software and archived is unchecked. And you could do is not checked, either or, they're the same. And where fleeting is also unchecked. So now if I create a new note, and let's just call this After Effects, it's got the type of software because of how we're filtering. And I could easily add any kind of cool things here. So for instance, favorite shortcuts. And one might be Control, Alt, Home equals center the anchor point. This would be a great way to just remember obscure shortcuts for when you're using these programs, or to add a list of your favorite plugins, or to have your software key, that kind of thing. And maybe we want to have an image here. So why don't we go grab an image for After Effects? Maybe just the logo itself. There we go. I'm gonna save that and we'll just save it to our downloads. Come back to Notion and remember how we set the page cover to be in layout, I believe, the image property, which is a file attachment property. So I'm going to come into my properties, I'm going to upload an image, and I'm going to find my After Effects. Let's see if that works. There we go. Boom. There's our After Effects. So what we might want to do now is add some special properties for this view. In fact, if we don't have special properties, there's not a huge reason to create a special view, I guess, unless you really want curation. But in that case, you could just use a regular old resource like productivity or interior design. You could have a resource called software, and you might just want to use this. But in this case, there are probably some special properties that we may want to use. So let's go ahead and create those now. And I'm going to use the same design philosophy that I used here for book tracker properties and for recipe divider. So first, I want to create a divider property for my software tracker. I'm going to add a property. I'm going to call it software divider. And I want to give it a prefix emoji. And I want to use the same one that I used for the actual software tracker page. So we'll use the keyboard emoji. And we're going to call this a formula property, or set it to be a formula property. And the reason we want it to be a formula property is so that this text value is automatically applied to every software note that we create without having to use a filter to do so. If it's a formula, it's just going to be that way. And so I'm going to change this to be software tracker properties. So let's grab that keyboard icon. I will paste it a couple times. Type in software. And this is sort of my workaround for the fact that Notion doesn't have property groups. Wouldn't it be cool if I could actually toggle this and hide all these properties? That would be amazing. But right now we don't have that. So the only option we have is to hide all the ones we've hidden or show all of the properties. So I've got my divider there. And one property I know I would want for software would be to be able to paste in my license key if I have it. So let's grab my keyboard, which actually I can just paste in, and let's put in license key. That'll be a text property for sure. Perhaps I want to mark whether the software I have is free or paid. Maybe I'm a blogger and I talk about software on my blog or my YouTube channel. That would be nice. So maybe I'll put in free or paid. And it's going to be a select where I have options free and paid. Maybe I have affiliate links for these pieces of software. So I'm going to do affiliate link. And I'm going to add that as a URL property. And finally, maybe I want to give them a software category. So let's do keyboard and category. And this is actually kind of going to mirror something that I already have, which I can show you if I switch over to my College Info Geek area and go to my knowledge base. I've got this Tom's apps, tools, and resources page, which is basically what I'm building here. And I've got category, I've got type, I have a description, platform, link, affiliate link, all kinds of good stuff. So we're sort of creating this in a way. We now have all of our different software properties that are going to pertain to our software tracker. I want to make sure all of these are hidden by default. So I'm going to always hide my software divider. For the license key, I'm going to hide it when empty, which is the default. For free or paid, I might also hide when empty. This I'll hide when empty, and category will be the same thing. So for most notes, such as building a second brain, we won't see any of those software properties because they're all either hidden all the time or hidden when empty. But for a piece of software, we might actually see some of them. So now that we have those, let's tweak our software tracker to actually show them. Here in the gallery view, I want to show at least some of these, probably not all of them, but I might want to show the category, and I think that's about it for the gallery view. Let's keep that clean. But we can also duplicate this, name it table, and turn it into a table view where we show a lot more. So I will wrap all the columns. I'll come to properties. I'm going to hide all because I don't want to show all the default note properties. But what I do want to show are my image and my software properties, which are going to be down here. So affiliate link, category, free paid, license key. We don't want to see divider. That's just for our use when we're looking at all the properties. So now we have this really useful table view where I can categorize my software. I can mark whether it's free or paid. I can have my license keys, all kinds of stuff. So my category might be VFX or post-production. We'll call it that. I don't have an affiliate link for After Effects, so I'm gonna leave that blank. A license key we also don't have for After Effects, so we'll leave this as it is. But at this point, we might wanna create an actual database template for our software tracker. So now let's go up to this little blue arrow here, and we could, if we wanted to, select this little three-dot menu and duplicate one of these templates, but I don't think I need to. I think I'm just going to create a brand new template. We'll call this a software template. And I want to open up these properties and give these some default values. And I actually don't know if any of them need to be given default values, but for an example or for reference, I will show you in the book notes template. If we edit it, we'll actually see a default value added to the author property. Since every book is going to have an author, I figured enter text would be good to have here because then we can actually change it when we start a book. But date started, date finished, those don't have default values because you might not have started a book when you add it to your TBR. Book status, same thing. So we can use filter criteria for many of these. And I think for our software template, we actually don't need to give any of these default values. Not all software has a license key. We can choose via filters if it's free or paid. We also likewise don't have an affiliate link for everything. And then we can also choose via grouping filters our category. So just to know, you could add default values if you wanted to. I'm not going to. I do want to add an icon. I'm going to add that keyboard icon here. And maybe I have some default page content, such as, let's see here, let's do a heading 2, and we'll go keyboard shortcuts, and maybe quick tips, and favorite plugins. You can do whatever you want here. This is just an example. So now, if I were to create a new entry here, and let's call it Notion, why not? We could come in here and we could generate from our software template. And now we've got all our stuff in there. And in our software trackers table view, we can enter everything we want here. So category, I might go productivity. Affiliate link, I believe is notion.so/Thomas, I think. Free or paid, it's gonna be free at first. License key, there is no license key. So that's how you could start filling up your table view here. Now, what if we want to group or filter by free or paid? Well, very, very easy. We could do a free view. So let's duplicate our table view and call it free and add one more filter where free paid is free. Just like that. We could duplicate that once more and call this paid and change the filter from free to paid and get rid of free. And there we go. If we wanted to group by category, we could do that by going to the 3-dot menu here, going to group and choosing category. And we could hide empty groups if we want to, which would get no category out of there. And note that these groups actually act as additional forcing functions. So you probably know that if we set a filter like type is software, then any new note that is created here is going to get that type of software. But if we create under one of these groups, we'll also get the category that is shown here in this grouping. So for productivity, if I also add, say, text expander, note how it automatically has productivity as its category because we've added it in the productivity group. I can come in here one more time, generate from my software template, and as always, add my image, add my affiliate link, add any of this good old stuff. So that, my friends, is how you would create a special view for a specific type of note. And in doing so, you'll have this nice little gallery and you can curate it and tailor it to your heart's desire. I'm going to follow up this video with an additional tutorial on how you would create something with an additional database, which wouldn't really want to be inside that all notes tracker. And we'll talk about how you could actually hook that in to your databases inside of Ultimate Brain. But this is how you would do it using one of the existing databases. Here we have shown how to do it with all notes, but note that this exact same design philosophy could be applied to any of the other databases inside of Creators Companion. If you wanted to add something similar to the tasks database, maybe for home maintenance tasks, you can make a home maintenance task dashboard like this. This is exactly how you would do it. So in summary, you want to create your page for your curated type of data here. You want to create a template inside of the database, which will auto apply some properties if needed, specifically a type property that will help you to set up your filters here, where you're only showing notes or tasks or whatever of that type. Then you might want to set some defaults to your properties. I would recommend also adding little emojis and a divider to your properties so you can very easily tell where the properties for the special note type are and where they end. And from there, you would be pretty much good to go.